Hello and welcome to this session of Business Analytics and Data Visualization video series. Today we'll be doing your chapter Introduction to Power BI, Tableau and Creating Basic Charts. I am CS Shruti Soni and I'll be covering the particular aspects which are given in your study material. Let's take a quick look at them. So basically, once we are doing this chapter, the aim of this chapter is to understand the role of data visualization. Because once we are trying to analyze any performance, we need to visualize the data. And in this chapter, we'll understand the importance of visualizing data so that we can simplify certain complex information and we are able to make better decisions. We'll also understand how visual tools help business communicate insights quickly and effectively. Because once I know what is my sales graph or what is the trend in sales or where are the shortcomings or which product is giving me higher profits, I can make a better decision. Same way, we'll get an introduction about Power BI and Tableau also. We'll understand their key features, their business uses. We'll see the unique strengths also between both these and what are the differences also, as both of them are leading, data business visualization tools. We'll also understand how to install them, connect, and then how to load certain data. We'll be understanding the basic concepts mainly and how to clean, transform, and prepare data so that we are able to, get some visualization process done. Then we'll also understand what are the different type of charts. For example, you'll see bar chart, bar graph, line, pie chart, column, scatter, area, donut also, stack, column stack. So there are different kind of chart types and when each of them is appropriate, we'll build certain basic charts also and we'll format and label some of them for effective communication. Then we'll also try and analyze the visual inputs to interpret business trends. That is, once we've done the visualization, how do we analyze them? We'll understand that also. And if there is any specific business question, then how do we utilize these tools to get to the solutions which are desired? So, this is the main aim of this chapter. So, let us get going now. See, data visualization, as you all know, it's very important concept of business analytics. You have statistical models which provide structure, quantitative insights, but visualization tools, they transform those complex data sets into very clear and interpretable visuals. Because you might have data for years, like last year you had 10% growth in profit, this year you had 5% growth in profit, the year ago you had 23%, then maybe before that you were -2. So you might have these statistical models, but the visualization tools will, they'll be able to interact with the data, which are, basic reasons for the results which you have got, and they'll try to get an interaction done between them so that you are able to drive certain conclusions from them, and that too mainly through visuals. So that is where the difference between statistical models and visualization tools lies. So as you can see on the screen also, the purpose of visualization is basically to present the data in an intuitive and interactive format so that it highlights certain patterns, relationships, trends, etc. Now these visualizations, they basically support strategic planning. So why are visualizations important? Because the top management doesn't have, time for running through all the sheets and running through all the data. They just want to go to the bottom line at why this has happened, what are the main factors, key parameters, reasons, and then they want to drive conclusions. So they would have time only for strategic planning, and strategic is also means something which is very focused. So their planning is has to be focused and it has to be driven by very accurate results, which is possible only if the visualization is very clear. Then visualizations also help in risk identification because maybe sometimes in a report or sometimes in a statistical conclusion you are not able to read it or find it, or maybe it gets missed out. But in visualizations, when we do some sort of interactions between things, like supposing I see that what was the sale of this product in this region, and then I do a region wise analysis of the same product in a different country and maybe in a different season, then with different set of customers, and then when I try to interact all these results, I might come to certain conclusions which I would not have ever thought about, and that might be very important for the survival or growth of my business. So that is why visualizations are very important. They also help you to monitor your performance, because once you have got into those kind of interactions which you never thought would even exist, so you will be able to monitor the performance of your business on a timely basis, and you'll be able to take remedial actions also on a timely basis. And moreover, nowadays, any stakeholder of a business, he or she would like to have very crystal clear and easy to understand information about the business. He'll say that I want to know why this is happening and why this is not happening, and give me clear cut answers, and in a manner that I don't want sheets or reports. I just want why, what, when, and simple. So that ways the visualizations are very important to communicate with the stakeholders and to make them certain facts clear. You can also make them understand why this happened, because you also know the relations between the variables. For example, a retail company, it can use dashboards to track daily sales across regions. Instantly, it can identify what are the underperforming stores or product categories. So when you have a visual which tells you that in this region this much was your sale, and in this region this much was your sale, so you can at one go identify that okay, this was the place where I did not make a good sale, or this was the product which did not sell properly. So visualizations will try to highlight certain things which otherwise might get blended in some facts and figures in some statistical reports, and you might take them lightly otherwise. But once they're in visual form, that starking difference between a high and low will prompt the decision maker to go in for a corrective decision at the right time, right? So this is what is the importance of data visualization, because of which we are now going to understand what are the various tools also. Before that, you can also see this, that effective data utilization, what does it do? It enables decision makers to grasp insights quickly. This is what we've just now understood. And it also helps them to reduce reliance on extensive tables of raw data. Because if I get raw data, I get monthly sales, I get yearly sales, I get the increase in sales, I get the reduction in sales, value of sales. I get all these different sheets from different, business departments. But then how do I conclude? How do I respond? That is something which these tools help me to do. So it bridges the gap between data and the actionable insights, thereby it enables faster and more informed decision making. So for this, we have two leading tools, and they are Power BI and Tableau. Both these, they allow users to create dashboards, interactive charts, and reports, both of them. But of course, they have their different strengths, which we are going to understand. Now, if I come to what is Power BI, Power BI is basically a business intelligence tool, right? So it helps to analyze your data, convert that data into visual formats. So first of all, you analyze data, that is what kind of data we have. It also cleans data, because what happens is, supposing I have a region wise sales report, and in region I have some other town cities data also, and I may or may not need it, or maybe the values are not mentioned in the Excel sheets. So that column may need to be cleaned. So that is what is cleaning of data. And then these help into converting them into visual formats also. It helps in creating different reports and different dashboards. We'll understand that how. So Power BI is a collection of components. Now, what are those components? Let us first understand the theoretical aspect, then we'll do practically also. So Power BI is a collection of components such as Power Query. Power Query is basically responsible for extracting, transforming, and loading the data. So it's basically an ETL tool. It extracts data from different sources, data sources. Then it also transforms it. That means it reduces the null values, columns. It removes certain, frivolous items if you don't need them, and then it finally loads the data onto this Power BI desktop, wherein you can start the analysis and the visualization process. So Power Query basically helps in cleaning the data, especially when you have blank records, null values, or maybe sometimes the first column is written as column 1, column 2, and your actual data starts with the heading which is given in row number 2, and then data of that comes in row number 3. So you might have to reorder things. We'll see that in an example in a forthcoming slide. So one aspect of Power BI was Power Query, which helps you to extract, transform, and load the data. The second is Power Pivot, which is used for data modeling. So basically, what happens is this helps in connecting multiple data sources if you wish to connect them. And it also helps in making relationships between them in a manner that it can be used. Third tool is Power View, which helps in visualization because this tool is helpful in creating more than 250 charts. There is a tendency or a capability of this Power BI. If you want to create charts, two different formats like bar chart, donut chart, all of them are present so that you have some effective visualization, report preparation, and you can create some good dashboards also, and that too in different color schemes. Another tool is Power BI Service. This helps in sharing the report which you have prepared with all others, all other users who are across the world. They can communicate amongst themselves also via these reports. Now, what are the features of Power BI? Let us first go through that, and then we'll see that there is a screen. How does it look? How do we work on that? We'll be looking into that also. So the Power BI interface, it consists of basically panels for fields. We have visualizations, we have filters, and we have a workspace layout also for reports and dashboards. And we need to be familiar with these, okay? With all fields, visualization filters, because unless we are not familiar, we won't be able to build interactive reports. So Power BI has a capacity to do interface and to navigate. Now, Power BI also helps you to import data, and you can import data from more than 100 sources, like if there is an Excel file, CSV file, SQL database. So, anywhere, data can be imported both from structured as well as unstructured or even semi structured data sources. So, you have some data stored in any file, any even PDF file, you just click load data and it's going to do that. Import data, it's going to do that. So Power Query basically allows you to clean, transform, and prepare the data before visualization. And then we have Power BI, which supports all kind of charts also. We're going to see bar chart, pie chart, line chart, and all that for supporting metrics. For example, one you can see here also. This is the total revenue and average sales total by product category. So you can see from this graphical representation, there is a product category of beverages, wherein the total revenue and the average sales total is also given. And the different, no, other things like meat, confectionaries, dairy products, seafood, all these things are given here. So this one picture is giving you an idea that, okay, fine, this is the highest and this is the lowest. And then you can go into depth also. Similarly, you have multiple bars in one. This feature is also there. For example, this is computers, units, then price. Then you can always link the number of sales, sales unit with sales value and the average price at which the different commodities are being sold. So you can have three variables or more than three variables also on a single screen, and then you can build interactive relationships between them and then come to better conclusions. So, if I talk about the features of Power BI, basically, for example, if a line chart is there, it can visualize monthly sales trends. That is, if it is going up, you know that the sales trends are going higher. Whereas a pie chart can show the distribution of product categories in total sales, just like we saw in the previous slide. That is, one category had this much percentage and this other category had this much contribution. You also can have multiple charts as you just now saw. And then you have filters, slicers, which will allow interactive exploration of data that I'll explain you. And then you have key performance indicators. You can highlight them so that the decision makers can have a quick insight for them, right? Now, once we are going through Power BI, we should know how to use it. So we have to work through four stages. Mainly, these are the main four stages. You have to first connect to the data, then you have to transform it, try and create visuals, and then share your results. So, whenever there is a report creation, it begins in the Power BI desktop, which it's a free Windows application. You simply go to the Windows Store and you download it. And once you download it, you can install based on the instructions given. Of course, there are certain system configuration requirements, which I'll share just now. And once you do that, then you can start preparing reports and then you can share also. And this thing, sharing and collaboration, it happens in the Power BI service, which is a cloud version of it. So, if I talk about the theoretical steps, first of all, so first we have to connect to data. That is, you begin by bringing your raw data. Okay, so you might be having different files of yours, like Excel file or any other file. So you just open your Power BI desktop. Once you've downloaded it, you just open it. Then you select Get Data from the ribbon, and then you choose the source file from which you need the data. And then you simply load that data in your Power BI file desktop. Then once you've done that, if you need to transform it, then you use the Power Query editor wherein you can remove certain columns, you can filter rows, you can change data types, change column headings, and so on. You can also create relationships between different tables in the model view. We'll see that in the desktop view itself, that there are certain views, report view, model view, and so on. Then you can also use certain data analysis expressions like DAX calculations, what you call them, to create some new measures such as total sales or year over year growth. Once we've read these theoretical aspects, we'll come to the practical. I'll first explain you through an image also, and then through two short videos of mine. Okay. Now, once you have, basically done all this data modeling and, removed all those irrelevant data, you can start building your visuals, which will help you in creating your reports. So you can drag the data fields onto the report canvas, and then you can start choosing the visuals. You can use the visualizations pane, and you can switch between different charts, and you can see whichever is suiting your purpose better. You can insert certain filters so that you can click the filter, and then you can find out, like supposing you need the report by date or that same report by a particular region or a category, you can use that. So you can add more of interactivity in your reports. Finally, you can publish your report. You can move your report to the cloud to collaborate with others, and you can upload your report to the Power BI service. As I told you, there are certain minimum requirements to run the Power BI desktop, so you can see them on the screen. You have you have to have Windows 11 or Windows Server 2019 onwards, which is recommended. Then you have Net 4.8 or later or WebView 2, Microsoft Edge browser. Internet is no longer supported. Then you have memory at least 2 GB available. 4 GB or more is a better version. Okay. So you can just keep in mind while downloading, whenever you download it from the Microsoft Store, you just have to go to the Microsoft Store and you'll get a free download. But you can at least keep the system requirements of yours in mind. The display requirement also, as you can see, it has to be at least 1440 into 900 or 1600 into 900, and the CPU 1 GHz 64-bit processor or better. WebView 2, if it wasn't automatically installed, then you can download and run the installer and get it done. Lower resolutions, as you can see, are unable to fully display the controls. So you can, if you need to check your display settings, what you can do is you can go to settings, system and display, and then you can use the slider to adjust the display settings back to 100% also. So this is the main working area or the desktop of a Power BI. Once you download it, you will get a screen. Though this is not going to be the very first step, but once you download and start loading data, this is how it appears. So first I'll show you what are the main things you need to remember. So as you can see on the left hand side, there is this views, then you have a canvas here, you have a page selector, filters, fields, visualizations. So all these things you can take a look at. This is the ribbon here, okay? So once you launch this, once you download this, install it, and once you launch this, in Power BI basically starts with a blank report. So in this blank report, you have a ribbon. That is, you have this primary and you have these primary controls. I'll show you the exact screen also right now, okay? But first, let us take a look at this. So primary controls and home settings. Then you have views on the left side bar, okay? So on the left side bar, you have views, wherein you can have a view which is report view, data view, and model view, okay? So here you can see the different views. Then you have the canvas, okay? This is the canvas portion, wherein you have your visualizations and you can add other elements. Then the page selector is a navigation tool for going through the reports. This is the page selector, okay? Different pages you can create. Then you have filters. They can be added to filter and sort the data. Okay, here you can have filters. And then visualizations, that is charts, maps, cards. These are the visualizations. And fields, you have a selection of tables and fields that are available, right? These are the, so basically whatever data you have uploaded, you must have uploaded some Excel file. So it will be having different fields. So all these fields are listed here, right? So now let us quickly go through a short video and then we'll understand this whole thing practically. Now here on the screen, you can see this Power BI desktop on which you first click on this blank report. Once it is loaded, it will give you all these options, import data from Excel, from server, from blank table. So I'm clicking this import data from Excel and it is going to fetch one Excel file. As you can see, it is a sample file. This is project management sample data, right? So it will just load this data and it will tell you. So it is loading. Once it will load, it will even give you this preview option. If you need some preview, you can see this. This is the kind of preview. Now, though this is having some null values and you can transform this, for the time being, I'm skipping this portion to make it easier. So I just click this and then I load this, right? Now, once this is loaded, you'll be able to see your data in the data pane. You'll see here, right, on the right hand side. And then we'll be able to build certain visualizations with the help of the graphs given. So let us wait a second till the time it is loading. So it has also transformed a bit of data on its own because of certain updated settings. And here you can see the data portion is changing, right? So now let us do this days required and project name. Okay, let us take these two headers. Though you have options, like you have more options also, you can click that also later on. But as of now, I just want to know simply which project needs how many days. Okay, and let's make this in the form of a stacked column chart, or maybe you want to have this clustered column chart. Any of these you can click. Okay. So I'm clicking this, and then you can see this is a visual which has been created, right? We can also change the colors of this, but as of now, you can see all these projects and all this data on the x-axis also, right? Now this is project name and sum of days required. Automatically here you can see on the x-axis. Now supposing you want to change this and you want to put this like you want to have this end date, okay? You want to have this end date and then you want to substitute this here. So you can do that also, and whatever modifications you make accordingly, the visuals will change. So this was what I wanted to explain with respect to the visualization aspect. I hope this is clear. Now, after having understood the basic concept, how to visualize and how to prepare simple basic charts, now let us go a bit in depth and watch this portion also and understand how transformation can also take place, and based on that, some more complex visualizations.
Here in Power BI Desktop, let me just give you a quick overview of this interface. So we have a couple of tabs here, right? On the top of your screen, you see Home, Insert, Modeling, right? All these different ribbons. Under each ribbon, we have multiple options, right? Another thing is, in these ribbons, under the Home ribbon, we have an option called Transforms. So if you go to the Home ribbon, there you see Transform Data. And if I click on this Transform Data button, another window will pop up, right? I got another window now. So we have now this Power Query Editor window open. So Power BI Desktop is there and Power Query Editor is there. This Power Query Editor window will come when you click on the Transform Data button. Where was this Transform Data? Under Home ribbon, Transform Data. The moment you click on it, you get this window. This Power Query Editor again has a couple of ribbons. Under each ribbon, you have multiple options. This Power Query Editor is used for the data transformation purpose. If you want to transform the data, when I say transform the data, means like you want to clean the data, you want to massage your data. Some columns are not correct in a correct format. Some blank data is coming, right? You want to do some join, some lookup. For all these kind of things, you use this Power Query Editor. All right. So for a moment, I just close this Power Query Editor window. And after that, then you see here, these are, the different panes, right? This is called panes, filter pane, visualization pane, and data pane. You can expand and collapse, show and hide these, open and close these panes here, depending on the usage. Filters pane is used to apply some of the filters on your report. This white area you see, this is called canvas. What do we call? Canvas, report canvas. This area we use for the visualization purpose. For adding the charts, we use this area. This area we use filters pane to apply the filters on our charts. This visualization pane is used for adding or selecting the charts. You have a predefined list of the visuals here. These all are the visuals or visualizations added by Microsoft. If you want, you can add more visuals here by going to the three dots. You can add some new visuals, some custom third-party visuals. Below the charts, you see this area. This is called data field area. Here we add some of the, calculations or some of the columns from our tables. This data pane will contain all of the tables. So currently we have not loaded any data. That's why you see this area blank. But if we load the data, then you will see multiple tables here. Correct? And this is currently a report view. If you look at the left side of your Power BI desktop now, this is a report view. We have multiple views, like you can go to the table view. In table view, you will see all your tables backend data. And the another one we have here is a model view. Here we will see the relations or the joins between the tables. There are two more other views which we will be using or talking about these later. Right? Filter pane is used for applying the filters on your charts. Clear? Please? Okay. So this is a high-level overview about this Power BI desktop screen. Power BI desktop has a lot of buttons, a lot of features. So let's start exploring these one by one. Okay. So we want to load some of the data in the Power BI desktop, right? And what are the filters? You will get the answer, in some time. Let's wait. So now if you see this Power BI desktop and Power BI desktop, I want to load some data, right? To load some data, you can, depending on your project requirements, you can, identify that what are the data source. Data source is what? Data source is nothing but a Excel file or a system or a database wherever your company's data is stored. So let's say your finance data, your sales data is stored in Excel. So you want to load that Excel data in Power BI desktop. How? You have the shortcuts given, like you can click here to import the data from Excel. You can import it by clicking here also. Or I will recommend using this option, get data. If you want the data in Power BI, you just go here. Correct? So if you want to do anything in Power BI desktop, what is the very first thing? What is the very first thing we need? Data, right? Think about it that you have a vehicle, you have a car, right? And you want to start driving. You want to go to somewhere for vacation for your day-to-day use. What do you need very first thing in your car to start? Fuel, right? Of course, key, but you need the fuel. You need petrol, you need fuel in that, right? So data is the fuel for Power BI desktop. If you do not load the data in Power BI desktop, then think about it that it's just a blank Power BI desktop without the data. So if you want to do anything, you must have the data first, correct? So we want data in the Power BI desktop. Okay. But from where we should get the data? Depends. Maybe in your case, data is in Excel. In my case, my company or my project's data is in CSV file. Somebody's data is in PDF. Somebody's data is in database, right? It depends. So let's see, how do we load the data from an Excel file? So before we load the data, before we use the data, we need to understand what data it is, how this data looks like. This data belongs to which domain, right? So you must have the understanding of the data and understanding of the business, right? When I say understanding of business means, like, let's say you join in a sales team. So you should know what is the sales business process, right? You should know their terms. You should know their data, correct? Or for example, if you joined a company and you got a project to work on insurance data. So you should understand that what this insurance domain means. What is the business process of insurance domain? What kind of the data they have? They have some of the premiums, products, policies data, right? So you need to understand that what policy means for that particular project or for that process, what premium means, how products and premiums, right? This data is connected. So you need to understand data. If I give you a finance example, if you, let's say, working on a finance project and you need to create a dashboard for your finance team, then you need to understand their language. You need to understand when they says like, okay, create a dashboard which should show us that how much dues we have on our customer. So you need to understand like what due amount is, what customer data is, How will you identify this customer's due amount is this? In which table this due amount data is residing, right? So you need to understand data. You need to understand business process. And these are the things which nobody will teach you, to be honest. This is something which comes by the exploration, means you need to explore it by your own, and it comes by the experience. So whenever you work in your project, in your team, you should be, asking the questions like, okay, where is the data? What is the data? Why are we doing this? Right? So you should be, trying to gather the information when you're working in your projects. Right? So for now, we have a sales data. And if you go to your datasets folder, the one yesterday, this is our datasets folder. If you go inside this folder, here you have a file called Global Superstore 2016. Right? You have a file, Excel file, Global Superstore 2016. This is an Excel workbook which we will be using. So I want you guys to just open this Excel workbook and spend 1 minute on it. Try to understand the column names. Try to understand you. What do you think? Is it a cricket data? It is a sales data? It is a movies data? It is what kind of data? When I say open, just double click on this, and this Excel workbook will open in your machine. And now just try to understand this data, right? Like summarize, like, okay, orders sheet contains what, returns contains what, people contains what, right? What your understanding says. Okay. Fine. So let's say we got this understanding. This is an online sales or e-commerce data of a sales superstore, and it contains, data of customers and product. These customers have ordered different type of products, and we have products information like how many quantities were ordered, what was the unit price, one quantity or one particular unit price, and how much discount was given, how much profit they made on this, how it was the shipping cost, right? And this data contains some of the extra columns also, like some dummy data, right? Useless columns. In returns, the sheet contains all the orders which are returned from different regions, right? And people sheet contains like kind of a master data. Okay, for these regions, these are the regional heads. So for Caribbean region, this is regional head. For Central US, this lawn border is a regional head. So we are just maintaining this kind of a master data, and we have some of the transactional data also like orders. Correct? So the better understanding you have on your data, all these things will become very easy. If somebody doesn't understand data, somebody doesn't know this data, I don't know what data it is. I don't know what these column means, right? Then it's going to be tough. It's going to be hit and try thing then, right? So the step number one is we need to first understand what data it is and what you want to do with it. Correct? So we have now we want to load this data in Power BI desktop. Let's close this Excel because best practice says the data you want to load in Power BI desktop, you should close that Excel. If that Excel will remain open and you are trying to load it in Power BI, then it may throw an error. Correct? So close it. And Souvik, this data set, what we are using, this was given, in a OneDrive. I sent the link of this OneDrive once again. You guys can download the dataset folder from there. In that dataset folder, you have a global superstore Excel file. Okay. Okay. So let's load this. Make sure that you have unzipped the dataset folder. Now we are going to the Power BI desktop, and here, as I told you, just go to the Get Data and choose Excel workbook. Go to Get Data and choose Excel workbook. And now you have to find your file. Where is my file? My file is in my downloads and datasets. And here I see Global Superstore 2016. This is the Excel workbook, Excel file, which I want to load in Power BI. I select this Excel. What? Power BI will try to make a connection with that source Excel file. And once the connection is successful, you will see this navigator window. In this navigator window, you will see you have all those three sheets. In Excel, you had these sheets, orders, click on the name of orders, and you will see a preview of this data. This is data preview, means just few rows of that table, not the entire table. Purpose of this window is just to have a look like what kind of data you are trying to load, what kind of data this table contains. This is just a preview of the data. If you want to load all the tables, then click on the boxes, select all the tables, all the checkbox. If you say, no, I want only orders, I do not want the people and returns, fine, then you can deselect these, you can select orders. So here it will depend on your requirement, what tables you want. Currently, I loaded an Excel which had only 3 sheets, but you may have an Excel which has, let's say, 20 sheets. So you will see 20 tables list here. And you will have to select like which sheets data you want, whether you want 2 sheets or you want 20 sheets, right? So whatever the Excel file is having this number of sheets, all those sheets will appear here, and you will select depending on your usage, which data you want, correct? For now, I want all the data, so I'm selecting all these 3 tables. So click on the checkbox for all these 3. And then you see here, load and transform data. So ideally, when we are loading this data, we feel that this data is not, fully transformed. It's not fully cleaned. Even if you look at this data here, you will realize that column headers are not coming properly for the returns table, right? I have the column names, but these are not promoted. These are not coming as a header, right? So what I want to transform this data first, right? I cannot load this because if I load it, then this, I would say the raw data or this, untransformed data will get loaded. I want to transform it first. I want to bring it into a good shape, and then I will load it. If sometimes your data is perfectly clean, right, and there's no transformation needed, then you can load the data directly to Power BI Desktop. But in this case, our data is not 100% clean. I want to clean up this data a little bit. So in that case, I will click on transform data. And generally, we make a habit. We always click on the transform data because we will never be 100% sure that our data is clean, right? So what do? We click on the transform data. And the moment we click on transform data, this data will get loaded in the Power Query Editor window. Remember, a few minutes back, I was telling you Power Query Editor is used for the data cleaning, data transformation purpose. So click on the transform data here, and you will see you got this Power Query Editor window. In the Power Query Editor, your data has been loaded here, right? So you see, you have now 2 windows open, Power BI Desktop and Power Query Editor. In Power BI Desktop, no data loaded yet, right? You see a message here, a warning message that hey, you are working on some data on some queries, but that is not yet applied, right? So that data is currently in my staging area, or I would say in the cleaning area. And I'll give you a basic example here. Why is this cleaning needed and what it means? So think about it like. And you can, consider other examples also, but I have, a habit of giving some layman examples and basic examples that everybody can understand. So think about it that you bought some of the vegetables from the market. What did you do? Do you directly consume them? Or do you first clean them? Of course, first, whatever the fruits or the vegetables you are bringing, right, outside from the market, first you take that to your cleaning area, right? Whatever your cleaning area is in your house, you take that stuff, vegetables, fruits, to the cleaning area. You will clean it there, you will massage it there. Somewhere you will notice, one particular, let's say, tomato is totally, damaged, right? Totally useless. So what do? You will realize that there's no benefit of cleaning it. It's totally, damaged. So you will throw that. So it means you are removing that particular bad quality product or bad quality tomato from your good quality vegetables, right? So what are you doing this at this time? In your cleaning area, you are just checking what is clean, what's not clean, what's totally useless. You are, preparing your fruits and vegetables for the further consumption. Correct? So that the area where you are cleaning it, that area in Power BI language is Power Query. So Power Query is your cleaning area. In Power Query, you are cleaning, you are removing. If something is totally useless, something we don't need, we will remove it. We will clean it, we'll wash it, right? We will give it a good shape. Once everything is good in good shape, then what do we do then? Then we keep those fruits and vegetables in our refrigerators, right? Or we consume them. So then after cleaning the data here in this window, then we will load it in our refrigerator to consume, and that is Power BI Desktop. So Power Query Editor is a cleaning area, and Power BI Desktop is the area where we store this cleaned data. Make sense? So in Power Query Editor, we have this data now, and I noticed some of the issues in the data. Some of the quality is not good. So look at the column names, right? These are coming like column 1, column 2, column 3. This is not the right column headers, right? Ideally, the column names came, but due to some Excel formatting, my column header could not promote it as a first row. So what I want now, I want this row to move here. If I move this row, first row as a header, then I'll have, return order ID and, region promoted as the header. So for this purpose, what we do, for this purpose, we have an option here called use first row as headers, right? So if sometimes Power BI it doesn't detect the column headers, then you will have to use this option. You have to give the instructions to Power BI. So click on this button once, use first row as headers, and you will notice that your headers have been now promoted. You got a proper done. One thing, if you noticed, I don't know if you noticed or not, but let me show you. Here you have these steps, right? This is called applied steps, right? In this applied steps, Power BI will keep adding, all the steps, or it will keep tracking everything, whatever you do on your data. I promoted the first row as header, so they added the, a step here. First, 2-3 steps comes here automatically when you load the data. But now going forward, if I do anything in this data, like if I'm adding a new column, if I'm renaming a column, so for everything, a step will be recorded, a step will be added here. Correct? If in case you want to undo something, you can delete that step, right? In case if somebody is not getting this query settings, right, this applied section, so might be you have closed this button, right? Sometimes it happens like we feel that it's for no use, why we say let's close it. If you have closed this button, right, so now you will be wondering, hey, how to bring that button back. So for that, you will go to the view. So you will go to the view ribbon, right? Under the view ribbon, you have first option called query settings. Click on it and you will get that query settings window back. Right? So in case if you closed it, you can bring it back by going to view query settings, right? Okay. So we have a returned column here. And this column contains what kind of values I want to see. So I click on this arrow and it has only yes, but it shows a message here that list may be incomplete. Let's try to load the everything of this column. When I loaded, I found there is only one value yes in this. I feel that this column is not needed. Okay, let's remove it. How to remove? Click on the header, on the column header, right click here on the column header and remove. Right click on the column header, remove. Choose the remove option. And when I selected remove, you will notice that a step has been added here. Correct? So remove the column, first column. I repeat it again. So I removed, let's say I want that column back. So I will undo the last step. And I got that column back. So I wanted to remove the returned column. Right click on this column header and remove. and that got removed. And a step has been recorded. If you, let's say you realize, oh, I want that column back. So you can undo this step, just delete this step and you will get your column back. So if you want that column back, you can undo the last step from here. There you go. You got your column back, right? So this is a great thing. Whatever you want, you can perform here, or if you want that column back or any of the transformation, if you want to undo, you can do anytime from here. So Power Query Editor gives you the full flexibility, right? It gives you full flexibility. Now you notice, again, I didn't get the first row as a header here, right? I'm not getting the first row as header. So what I want, again, I need to promote this header, the first row, I want to move to header. So what I'll do here in this case, I will be, promoting using this option again, use first row as header. So go here and use this first row as header. I want to promote the first row as header here. So for this, we will be using this option, use first row as header. So just click on this once, click once, and you see column header happen. Now, if we go to the orders table, you can undo this, right? Undo is possible, but for redo, you will have to apply that operation again, okay? And this will not be saved automatically, we'll save it. So we go to the orders table, right? We are going to the orders table now. In orders table, look at the data, right? I want to scroll it. I'm just scrolling it all the way right at the end. You notice that you have some of the columns like testing, testing 2, testing 3. I intentionally added these kind of useless columns here. So I do not want these. So it may happen when you work in your real-time projects that you will have, let's say, 60 columns in your data or 70 columns in your data. But all columns are not needed for your reporting, for the analysis purpose. So you will have to identify that what columns you want. And this is a best practice. Rather than working on the everything or the entire data, you need to identify what data you need, what columns you need. Just keep only those columns and put your efforts only the columns which you want. Why are you putting the efforts on those columns which you don't want anywhere? So I don't want these columns. And how will you decide? How it will come to your mind that, okay, this data will not be used, right? That is something which comes by the experience, which comes by the study of your requirement. If you understood the requirement, you understood the data, then you will map that for this data, this is, for this requirement, this is the data, and this is what I need, this is what I don't need, right? So that's how you make these decisions. Right? This is something which automatically comes by the experience gradually when you will start creating 2-3 dashboards. So for now, I do not want these columns, useless data. So why should I keep the useless data? Let's remove it. How? You can right click and remove. There is one more option. Be careful. Remove other columns. So there is a difference between these two. Remove, and everybody please focus here. The remove option will remove the selected column. Remove other columns will remove the all other column except this. Just an example I'm showing you. Don't do this. Just an example. So if I click on remove other column, what happened? Everything deleted except this testing. So a step is added. I will undo this. I'll bring back my data. Right? So if you want to remove only this column, then right click on this header and remove. If you choose remove other columns, then what will happen? Other columns which are not selected, those will get removed. Okay, so sometimes people make, and interviewers ask this kind of a basic questions also in interviews, like difference between remove and remove other columns in Power Query, right? So just remove this. Instead of removing one by one, you can select multiple columns, press Control from your keyboard, select these 3 columns, and then right click on the header and remove columns. That's it. So those 3 columns we have removed. So you should choose remove columns, not the remove other. Remove other will remove other columns. So for example, if I undo this, like I want to remove other columns. So what will happen? Only this one will remain here, other will remove. See, other columns have been removed. But no, this is not what I want. I wanted to remove this one. You removed the one which were correct. I wanted to remove incorrect. You remove the correct ones. Right? So there is a difference between these two. So be careful while you are removing the columns. Although you can bring back, but just to remove columns here. That was a all right. So now I realized that again, we are going to the same example. I feel that whatever the vegetables, fruits I brought from the market, I think I have cleaned that here, right? If there were some, damaged or bad quality products, I have cleaned, I have removed them. Somewhere some cleaning was needed, I have promoted the headers. So this data looks good now. At least I have cleaned it here in the cleaning area. I want to now store it. I want to save it somewhere. So for that purpose, you need to load it. And in order to load it, you will have to click on the close and apply. So the data which you see here in the Power Query Editor window, this is just your staging area, or you can say area. Your data will not save here automatically, right? So you will have to save it. How? Click on this close and apply button. Agreeing that your data is clean, and maybe you will realize later tomorrow that hey, data was not fully clean. I found one more mistake in it. So you can bring back this data in Power Query and do the cleaning, right? So you can do this kind of stuff back and forth. So let's click on this close and apply for now. Everybody in Power Query Editor under the home ribbon, you have close and apply means you want to close this window and apply your changes, apply your data in the BI desktop. So when you click on this close and apply, your data will start loading to Power Desktop. So till now, you were keeping this data in the cleaning area, and now you are loading this data in the Power BI Desktop. This will take a few seconds, a minute, depending on the size of data. Perfect. So the data loaded, and I need to open the Power BI Desktop here. So data has been loaded in the Power BI Desktop, and you will see you got all these three tables loaded here. When this data was in Power Query, these tables were appearing on the left side of the window. After loading the data, these tables appear to the right side of the window. So don't get the confusion. So you have loaded this data now in your Power BI Desktop. But whatever the data you loaded here in the Power BI Desktop, you want this data, you want to see this data in a tabular format, right? So for that, right now you are in report view. Right now you are in the report view. So if you want to see if you want to see the tabular view of this data, then you will have to go to the table view. Correct? When you go to table view, then you will see the data and the tabular. So go to this table view, and here you will see your data in this tabular format. So this is the cleaned data. You will see that we don't have those testing columns. You see the column headers are coming. Correct? So you need to go to this table view, and then you will see your data in a tab. Correct? Now, if in case you made some mistakes, you didn't format this data or clean the data properly, then you will have to take this data back to the cleaning area. Means you need to take this data back to Power Query, and you can do further data cleaning. How? We'll see that into. I loaded this data right now, right? But I haven't saved it, right? We just loaded the data in this Power BI Desktop, but we need to save. How? Go to File menu and save, or you have a shortcut Control, right? Control S, or go to File menu and save it. Go to File and Save As, and here you can save it in your OneDrive, in your SharePoint if you use, or you can save it in your laptop. Click on Browse this device. How do you save it? Go to the File menu, Save As, and browse this device. Now you can choose your folder where you want to save it. I will suggest create a folder, right? So I'm creating a new folder here. You can create any folder, right? So that all your files remains in one folder. Okay. You just create a one folder in your desktop, downloads, wherever. So I created a folder with this name so that I remember it. Okay. Now inside that folder, I want to save this file. This file will be saved as .pbix, right? .pbix. What is this PBIX? And this is another interview question. PBIX is a Power BI desktop file extension. What is file extension? When you save an Excel file, those Excel files are saved as what? .xlsx or .xls format. But when you save a text file or notepad file, those are saved as .txt. .txt, right? Same way, if you save a Power BI desktop file, this will be saved at .pbix. So pbix is a Power BI desktop file extension. Power BI desktop files which you are saving here, you can only and only open these in the Power BI desktop. It's not like a PBIX file you can open in Excel. No. To open a PBIX file, you need a Power BI desktop software. Correct? So let's save this file, give some name to this file. Give anything, demo data transformation. Right? This is the name of the file. You can define any name, right? And I save it. So I have saved this data in the form of .pbix file. And where it goes? In my folder. So if I go to my newly created folder, you can see here is my pbix file. This pbix file has saved all the data in it, right? And the data will be saved in a compressed mode in this file. Correct. This is PBIX file. You can open it only and only in the Power BI desktop. So let's say I have done this work for now. If I want, I can close this after saving it. And let's say tomorrow or after some time, I want to continue on this file. I want to continue on this project. So I will come to this PBIX file. I'll double click it. And when I double click, it will open in Power BI desktop. Correct. Arjun, after creating the folder, we saved this PBIX file, this file in that folder. Right. Just add the name of the file and save. Saving a file is similar like how do you save your other files in your day-to-day work. Okay, so this is what we did so far. We loaded the data from Excel. We took it to the Power Query for the cleaning purpose. We cleaned, we applied some data transformations, and then we loaded this data in the Power BI desktop, and we saved this data as a PBIX file. That's all what we did. So we have loaded this data in the Power BI. Okay. When you load the data in Power BI desktop, ideally Power BI will, detect some of the relationships or joins between these tables. So if you want to see that join or the relation between the tables, we can go to the model view. Under the model view, you will see these tables have, linked or joined, some of the tables. Some tables are not joined, right? But in the backend, Power BI will try to create some relationship based on a common matching column in these tables, or based on the primary key concept that I will explain later. In model view, we will have these tables or relations connected. So sometimes Power BI detect relationships, sometimes doesn't detect relationships. We'll work on this later, but this is just FYI for now. Okay, so we have loaded this data. In the table view, you can see all your loaded data. In report view, you can create some of the charts, some of the visualization. So for example, I want to see, right? For example, I want to see what is the total, profit we have? So you have a search column. You can search your profit, right? Here is the profit column coming. Or you can expand your product orders table here. And here you can see your profit columns here. You will see the summation icon, right? The summation icon before the numeric column. So whatever the number type of columns you have, you will see this summation icon. Somewhere the summation icon doesn't make sense, like postal code. You cannot sum the postal code data, but still it is bringing the summation icon, right? Power BI shows some intelligence and detect these things. So for now, I want to show what is the total profit. To show the total profit, you have some sort of, charts here. You can pull any of the visual, any of the chart from the list, whatever you want. But for now, I want to pull this one, this card visual. You see, there is a card visual. I'm going to pull this where you see this 1, 2, 3 is written, right? I pull this card, click on it. Don't drag drop it. It won't come by the drag drop. You need to click on it and it will be added. Just click, right? And now just drag and drop your column, profit column into this card. How you do that? Just drag and drop your profit, pull the profit from here and drag and drop it here. Correct? So drag drop profit on this box. And boom, there you see, your profit is 1.53 million. Your total profit value is 1.53 million. Power BI detects this formatting automatically, like it should show in millions, billions, trillions, and or in thousands. Power BI has this, the global standard. In case if you want to show, the Indian format, Indian standards like lakh, crores, and all, for that you don't have any inbuilt feature. You will have to customize. You have to write some of the logic for it. Okay. So your total profit is 1.53 million. Card. This is called card. But when you show this 1.53 million, this is what? Is it a dollar value? Is it a euro? Is it Indian rupees? Which currency it is, right? And which currency this value is. So we want to add the currency symbol before this value. So let's say generally, right, most of the reportings are done in the dollar. I mean, depends although in your, company to company. So we want to add a dollar sign before this. So for that, you need to select your profit column. So what we do, we select this profit column. When I say select means click on the name of the column. I click on the profit. The moment I click on the profit, I will see column tools ribbon. Right? I see this column tools ribbon on top. If you don't select a column, you will not see the column tools. So click on the name of the column, right? Just where you see this text is written top. Just click here and you will see the column tools. Under this column tools, you have a formatting section. You have a formatting section. You can just go to this format and here you see drop down arrow, click on it. You have all the currency symbols here. Whatever you want, any country symbol you want, you can pick it from here. But what I wanted the dollar, so that is appearing on the top. Right? Just pick this dollar US. And when you select this on your profit column, automatically the dollar sign, that currency symbol will come here. We are just adding the currency symbol. We are not doing any currency conversion. Okay. So add this currency symbol on your profit. Select the profit, then column tools, and here you have a dollar sign. Pick it. You have more formatting options, like if you want 1,000 separator, you want up to 2 decimal places, you want to show the numbers, or up to 1 decimal place, you want to show the numbers. You can control all the. But now, this is showing me total profit. But I want to identify that this total profit is coming from which category, right? I want to show this profit by the category. So for that, I will take another chart. So I will click somewhere outside in the white space, white canvas somewhere, so that I deselect this. I click somewhere. Now that is deselected. I will take a new visual. So I'm going to add now this pie chart. Pie chart is very popular, right? Everybody knows, everybody use this. Let's pick the pie chart. It's there in your visualizations list, pie chart. And next to the pie chart, we have a donut, which is also a very popular one. So first, let's add this pie chart. Click on it, and it will get added. You can increase its size, or you can move it up, down, left, right, wherever you want to place it. So we added a pie chart, a blank pie chart. Now in this, I want to show profit by category. So again, I will do the same thing. I will drag and drop profit and the category here. So first you need to identify like what you want to show here. So like I want to show profit by category. So if you know that what you are showing, then it's just a matter of pulling that information. So I will pull the profit column, drag and drop the profit. This is the overall profit, but I want to split this profit by category. Here we have a category column, drag and drop this category on this chart. And there you go. It shows you that your profit is coming, most of the profit is coming from the technology category. From technology are 43%, which is 663,000. Right? From the technology category, most of the profit is coming from here. Clear? So if you click on technology, then you will see the data will get filtered for the selected value. This is inbuilt feature, interaction feature. All your charts will have the interaction. If you click somewhere, then the other charts or the other data available on your report will get filtered. Right? If you want to, again, if you click on the selected item, then that will get, deselected. It will start. Similar to this, we can add many more visuals here, depending on our requirements, whatever you want.
Now, having understood Power BI, let us now get started with Tableau. Now, what is Tableau? That is also a business intelligence and data visualizing tool which allows users to make sense of their data through interactive charts, graphs, and diagrams. It also helps the world's largest organizations unleash the power of their most valuable assets, that is, the data and the people. It also allows customers to spend more time on data analysis and less on data wrangling. So, the basic purpose of Tableau seems to be similar. However, there are certain features which help it stand out. Let us see those features also now. See, Tabulous is pretty easy to learn, easy to use tool, and the drag and drop technology is very famous. It is basically having a user-friendly interface which helps generate visual reports, and it also encourages users to create their own reports. Now, one thing is very clear that Tableau will not store the data in itself. The desktop does not have anything. So it will store in a memory, which is your RAM or flash memory. So this is the reason the processing speed of Tableau is much higher than those that store in disks. For example, Power BI. Also for Tableau, also there is no need for any coding language. Syntax, option to debug, all this is taken care of by Tableau itself. It is pretty flexible, and in this also you can connect to any kind of data. The user interface of Tableau is more organized. This consists of a mount of optimized data connectors for databases, and you can connect to Excel file, text file, any kind of server also, on Tableau server also. It provides a very intuitive platform, and it is considered as the gold standard for intuitive interactive visual analytics and an established enterprise platform. It is highly interactive. You can visualize data in many different ways. and the data blending and real-time collapse. These two features, they basically help Tableau stand apart. So these are the main features. You can see flexibility, intuitive platform, interactive visuals, and quick production time. So these are the 6 products of Tableau. We have 4 here and 2 here. Let us quickly go through them. The first one is Tableau Desktop. Basically, you will be concerned with Tableau Desktop only. This is the thing in which you create your dashboards. Okay, you can do ad hoc analytics, dashboards, report generation, graphs. You can also explore, visualize, and analyze data. You can see this is the kind of screen it has. And you can also create dashboards to consolidate multiple views. And in this way, you can deliver interactive data experiences. Then we have Tableau Server. Server basically helps you to share. So this is used for on-premises deployments, basically with your own employees if you want to share some data. The business intelligence solution scales to organizations of all sizes. So this is, as far as the internal deployment is concerned, internal sharing, you can do this very easily with this. You can share your visual analytics with anyone with a web browser, and you publish interactive analytics or dashboards, secure information and manage metadata, and you collaborate with others also through this. Tableau Reader is basically helpful in sharing the visualizations and dashboards on the desktop. It also helps, filter, sort, and page through the views. And basically, it is having a free download. Then the next one is Tableau Public, wherein you can share your data with everyone. Fine. This is on a web and this is with everyone. So you can create and publish interactive visualizations and dashboards, embed in websites and blogs, and this is free download, and this is also having a free hosting service. Then Tableau Online, with this, we can share the data on visualizations on cloud. So this is used for cloud-based deployments. This is managed and maintained by Tableau company. It has got a high level of security, and you can publish interactive analytics or dashboards on this also. Information is secured, and you can manage metadata, and you can also collaborate with others. And finally, we have Tableau Prep here. Tableau Prep is basically an extract, transform, load tool. That is, you can derive data as you've seen in Power BI also. And this is used for preparation and modification work. So the data, if you need to clean or then load, so that purpose is solved by Tableau Prep. So as you can see here, we have developer tools, sharing tools, and ETL tool in Tableau. Developer tools are those tools which are used to create dashboards or visualizations. We have a Tableau desktop, which needs a software and data. Then we have Tableau Public. This is also a developer tool wherein you can develop and share also dashboards. And sharing tools, as far as you want to share your visualizations, you can use Tableau Public, Tableau Online, and Tableau Server. So you see Tableau Public is here also and here also. So that means it is both a developer tool and a sharing tool. But however, the problem is that Tableau Public is public. There is very less security, right? So since there is no security, the organizations such as banks, which have confidential data, they cannot afford to use this because they can't afford to lose their important confidential data on the public domain. So that is why we don't use Tableau Public when we don't want to make the data public. In that case, you will go in for Tableau desktop, and then you have other portals, other these things, tools like Tableau Online and Tableau Server, which are highly secured, so you can use them because they also help, share dashboards to clients, officials, etc. for analysis. Tableau Server is basically used for on-server deployments, as we just now saw, like in an organization, if you give a ID to some employee, that way Tableau Server serves a purpose. And this is basically a cloud-based. ETL tool is Tableau Prep, that is helpful in extracting and loading your data. This is the main homepage. You can download Tableau from a website, and it is a paid, of course, it is a paid tool. You might get a 14 days free download. In any case, the screen when you download, it's going to look like this. So you have the connect here, okay, search for data. And this is, as you can see, some accelerators, some sample workbooks. Now, this is the basic toolbar. This is the data pane, the workspace, the marks card, columns and rows shelves, and this is your canvas area. So this whole is your Tableau dashboard. And now let us understand that suppose you can download any Excel file and then you can use that data for doing this exercise which I'm telling you. And then after I tell you theoretically, we will also be watching a short video, a recorded video, so that you are able to see the demonstration step by step, and then you can follow the same for your own analysis also. Now, let us understand that supposing you are an employee for a large retail chain, your manager has just got the quarterly sales report and he has noticed that sales seem better for some products than for others. And profit in some areas is not doing as well as she had expected. So, if she's got a quarterly report, some products are doing good and some of them are not doing good. So, she wants to know that what was the scenario. It's your job to look at the overall sales and profitability to see if you can find out what's driving these numbers. And she is just interested in the bottom line, that what and how. Tell me what and how. So she's asked you to identify the areas for improvement and present your findings to the team. Now, the team can explore your results and take action to improve sales and profitability for the company's product lines. So you'll use Tableau Desktop to build a simple view of your product data. You'll map the product sales and profitability by region. You'll build a dashboard of your findings and then you'll create a story to present. Then you'll share your findings on the web so that the remote team members can also take a look. So this is how we proceed with this. So what are the steps for this? First of all, the step one is that you connect to your data, then drag and drop to take a first look, then you focus your results, explore your data geographically, drill down into the details, build a dashboard to show your insights, build a story to present, and finally you share your findings with others. So the first thing you see after you open your Tableau desktop is the start page. We've already seen that. So you select the connector Tableau needs to access your data. So this is the connector here, right? So the first thing we do is connect. So what you can do is click in the upper left corner of any page to toggle between the start page and authoring the workspace. So you have a Tableau icon here. This is the Tableau icon here. Okay. And then you just connect to the data in any server-based platform, for example, Google Drive or Oracle or any published data source in Tableau Cloud or server. You can connect to the data source you've connected to before, and Tableau supports the ability to connect to a wide variety of data stored in a wide variety of places. The connect pane will basically list out the most common places that you might want to connect to, and you can also click on the more. So these are the most common places, and then you have a more here, so that if you want to search other places, you can search those places also, and then you can connect your data. Then we have quick start accelerators, that is the pre-built templates you can connect to your own data. And there are some sample workbooks also that come with Tableau desktop. So you can open the recently opened workbooks and discover certain additional resources also. That means for recently opened workbooks, you can use open, and for additional resources, you can go in for discover. So I'll show you this again. Okay. Now, in the connect pane under save data sources, you can click sample superstore. This comes with the Tableau desktop only. So once you do that, you are connected to a sample data sheet. Superstore basically contains information about products, customers, and sales that you can use to identify key areas for improvement within this fictitious retail company. I'll show you this also. So once you download that file, the sample superstore, you can download it from your own laptop or system. So you'll see this is the file. We have orders, we have returns, and we have people. In case you want to practice Tableau, this is basically loaded on their website only, from the place from where you're going to download it. So same way, otherwise you can use your own data also. And this is the file which comes to you. Okay. Now, what do we do with this file? Let's understand that theoretically, and then we'll go in for a practical demo also. So after you select the sample superstore, you will, as you've seen, your screen will look something like this, right? So you have all these things here. You have folders of customer, order, location, product, region, everything will come here, right? So you can create a view. You set out to identify the key areas for improvement. Because in this step, basically, you're going to drag and drop and take a first look. So within 4 years worth of data, you decide to drill into overall sales data to see what you find. So you can start by creating a simple chart. So from the data pane, what you can do is you can drag order date to the columns shelf. This is the data pane, as you already know. So we have columns and rows shelf here. I'll show you, this is very much on the top of the screen. This is columns and rows, right? So we can drag them and bring it here, right? So when you drag the order date to column cell, Tableau will create a column for each change in your data set. And under each column, there's going to be an ABC indicator. This indicates that you can drag text or numerical data like what you might see in an Excel spreadsheet. If you were to drag sales, then Tableau creates a cross tab and displays the sales total for each year. So what you can do is you can put order date to columns and then sales in the rows area, and then you get a proper sales total for each year. Tableau will generate this chart. You will see this is the kind of chart it is going to show you then, right? So this is the columns wherein you have year, order date, and rows you have the sum of sales. So this is the kind of chart it is going to create, right? So from here you just pick it and place it there. The line chart, as you can see, this line chart, you can see that this shows that sales look pretty good and they seem to be increasing also over time, right? So this is good information, but it doesn't tell you much about which products have the strongest sales. And if there are some products that might be performing better than others. So you've just got started, you can explore further and see what you can find out. You can basically refine your view. So you can drag the category also to the columns shelf and place it to the right of the year. So just near year, now you can put category. And then you might need to expand the product hierarchy to see the category field because you have a product hierarchy here, right? This one. So you might have to expand it and then see the category. Then what happens is the moment you do this, your view will update to a bar chart, right? And then you can also add a second, because what you've done is you have added a second discrete dimension. So you can add it further. So this is how it's going to look now, right? So you have year and category here. So year wise, they are showing these are the years 22, 23, 24, 25, and these are the categories. And here we have the sales, right? So from this view, you can see that sales for furniture is growing faster. See, this is the sale of furniture here, and last one is here. So sales of furniture is growing faster than sales for office supplies. You can see the office supplies very clearly, right? Even though office supplies had a really good year in 2025, perhaps you can recommend that your company focuses sales efforts on your furniture. Okay. Your company sells a lot of different products, so you'll need more information before you can make a recommendation. So to help answer this question, you can decide to look at the products by subcategory to see which items are the big sellers. For example, for the furniture category, you want to see details about, let's say, bookcases and chairs, furnishings, tables. So looking at this data might help you gain insights into sales and later on overall profitability. So you can add subcategories to your bar chart also. So if you want subcategories like this one, see, if you want to add subcategories, you can add subcategories here. So whichever subcategory you want to add to the column shelf, you can add it. Okay, you can drag and drop or double click a field to add it to your view, but be careful. Tableau makes assumptions about where to add that data and it might not be placed where you expect. So you can always click undo to remove the field or drag it off the area where Tableau placed it to start over. So basically subcategory is another discrete field. It creates another header at the bottom of the view and shows a bar for each subcategory. Okay. So this is the kind of visual you'll create on your canvas, right? So this step was all about getting to know your data and starting to ask questions about your data to gain insight. So you basically learned how to create a chart in a view that works for you. Then you've understood how to add fields to get the right level of detail. And now you can make it beautiful. You can start adding filters and colors also to explore your data visually. So you've created a view of the product sales broken down by category and subcategory. Now you're starting to get somewhere, but that's a lot of data to sort through. You need to easily find the interesting data points and you need to focus on specific results. So for this, you can use filters and colors, which will help you to add more focus. So the step 3 is basically talking about focusing your results. So after you add focus to your data, you can begin to use other Tableau desktop features also so that you can interact with that data. So you can add filters to your view. You can use filters to include or exclude values in your view. So in this example, like you decide to add, let us say, 2 simple filters to your worksheet. In the data pane, you can right click order date and select show filter. Okay, in the data pane, you just right click order date and select show filter. And in the we can repeat this step for the subcategory field, other category fields also. The filters which are added to the right side of your view in the order that you've selected them, they are basically card types and you can move around the canvas also, and you can click on the filter and drag it on the other location also. As you drag the filter, a line appears that shows where you want to drop the filter to move it. So this is how your now the visual will be. Currently, you are looking at the sales totals for various products. Okay, so these are the sales totals for various products. You can see that some products have consistently low sales. You can see them. And these are basically those areas where you reduce the sales efforts. But what does overall profitability look like? Then in that case, you can drag profit to, color to see what happens. So you just drag profit to color on the marks card, and then you'll see you'll have a negative profit in case of tables, bookcases, and even machines. So this is how it's going to look like. Okay. So you modified the profits here, and then you see the difference. So next step is to interact with your view so that you can, begin drawing conclusions. So looking at your view, you saw that you had some unprofitable products, but now you want to see if these have been unprofitable year over year. So then you can use filters to take a closer look, and in the subcategory filter card, you clear all the checkboxes except bookcases, machines, and tables. So this is what you now find. So now you can see in some years bookcases and machines were profitable. However, recently machines have become unprofitable. On a hunch, you decide to break your view region by region. So again, you drag region to the rows shelf and place it to the left of some. So again, there is a view which is created like this. So with this, you can see you've created a much detailed yet very concise picture of what you wanted to analyze, right? Now let us try to understand this whole thing through a small video, a recorded portion of a video. Let us understand that.
File with 3 sheets. You have orders, returns, and people. Okay, see, there are 3 sheets in this Excel file, and the first sheet is the most important one. Orders sheet. It has around 21 columns, which has, see, the data is about sample superstore. It's a store data, orders made in a particular store. Okay, order date, shipping mode. Then you have all the customer related information, product related information. Okay, and then you have the sales done, the quantity sold, and then what else? Profit, discount, and so on. Correct? The customer location related information and all of that. So this is a detailed sheet called orders, and it has around 9,994 rows of data, approximately. I mean, nearly 10,000 rows of data is what it has. So this is going to be one of the most important sheets using which we will discuss around 80% of the topics that we have in our, as in throughout our sessions. Okay. Now, where did we get this data from? I mean, is it available in the, I mean, it's definitely available in the internet, but who prepared the data basically? Who's the owner of this data, right? See, Tableau Software Company, they very well know that a person who is, downloading and installing the software will be a person who is planning to learn the software, or there'll be a person who will be completely new to the software. Okay. And for such a person, how will they start exploring or learning the software? They should have some data in hand, right? So what the Tableau Software Company does is they prepared this Excel file. And when you download and install the software, they are giving you the data set called Sample Superstore along with the software, telling that, okay, you're downloading the software. You will need data to start working with the software. So here's the sample data. I'll give you the sample data for you to explore and learn the software. So this Excel file was prepared and provided by the Tableau Software Company themselves, using which we can practice, explore the features, and build dashboards using the software. So this is going to be the data set that we will use in our upcoming sessions. And apart from this, we'll be using some smaller data sets here and there that I've prepared to discuss certain topics to make it easy to discuss and to understand certain topics. I've also prepared some smaller data sets apart from the Sample Superstore one. I'll provide all of them then and there during those sessions. Okay. So yes, that's about the data. Tableau, and start with your visualization work. That is what we will have to do. Okay. So before we start connecting the data and all of that, I wanted to give you an idea of how a complete working dashboard created using Tableau will actually look like. Okay. See, sometimes your learning process will become even more interesting if you get to know how the end product can actually look like. Okay, you'll have the enthusiasm to learn how did this particular dashboard, how was this dashboard created? What were the features used for creating that dashboard? I'm interested in learning about it, right? So that's when the journey becomes even more interesting. So for that reason, I'll just type Tableau Public Gallery. You can just type Tableau Public Viz Gallery, Google for it, get into the first link. And this is the Tableau Public Viz Gallery, where there'll be a lot of people, Tableau experts and enthusiasts all around the world who've used sample data sets, public data, to create interesting dashboards to showcase their skills, or might be to, it's just, that's how, enthusiasts they are about the software. They are so much interested in, exploring and creating interesting stuff using the software, right? You can just go through these dashboards whenever you have time, right? As of now, we'll pick up one sample dashboard. Okay, might be how peaceful the world is. This is one dashboard available in the Viz Gallery. How peaceful is the world, right? See, you have different chart types using which data can be visualized in Tableau, and map is one of them. Okay, it's not necessary that you'll have to only stick on to bar charts and pie charts. You have interesting charts that can be used to visualize your data. You have maps, okay, and this is a slider. We call this particular feature as a filter. Right? We'll start with the Sample Superstore data that we currently have in hand, right? Now, what file type is our Sample Superstore is? It's of an Excel file. It's a .xlsx file type, right? So it's a Microsoft Excel file, correct? So I'll have to click on Microsoft Excel because my data is present in an Excel file type. Okay, so click on Microsoft Excel and you just have to browse. See, the moment you click, you'll get a dialog box. You just have to get into whichever folder you wish to. Okay, wherever you have your data set, I have it under module 1, data set. This is where I have my sample superstore. So just browse, get into the exact folder, click on sample superstore, and then click on open. Okay, just click on open, and within a few seconds, you will be directed to a page known as the data source page. Okay, so within a few seconds, you'll automatically be directed to this page over here. The left bottom corner of the page is telling you the name of this page. It is known as the data source page. Okay, now what do we have in this data source page? We have sample superstore, the Microsoft Excel file that is connected with the workbook. And then you have 3 sheets, right? Orders, people, and returns. These are the 3 sheets that belong to my Excel file, correct? All the 3 are listed out right here. Yes, so which means our Excel file called Sample Superstore is successfully connected with Tableau. Yes, the moment you connect your data, you will, the moment you click on open, right? The dialog box opened up. I clicked on Sample Superstore and then I clicked on open. And after that, after a few seconds, you'll automatically be directed to this page known as the data source page, right? The same thing would happen if you're using Tableau Public. This is Tableau Public. We have the data which is in an Excel file type. So click on Microsoft Excel, click on the Sample Superstore file that you have within your system, and then click on open. Within a few seconds, you'll automatically be directed to the page known as the data source page. Okay, so this is not just for Excel files. No matter where you have your data, see, just click on this Tableau icon on the left top corner of your data source page to toggle between the start page and the current page that you are in. Okay, so by clicking on this Tableau icon, you'll always be taken to the start page, right? See, these are the minute things that you'll have to get familiar with. What every button does, what every tool does, what every icon does. You'll have to explore, keep getting familiar with the environment, and that's when you'll build confidence. Okay, right. So now, what if I have my data in any server or cloud? This was just a local file from my system. So this is how, we easily connected it. But what about databases, as in data stored in the form of tables and databases, servers and clouds? How do I connect them with Tableau, right? See, I'll tell you something. See, the way you connect your data might differ depending on the location where your data is present, right? The way you connect your data with Tableau might differ, but once connected, the way you work will absolutely be the same. Now, what does this mean? See, now we had an Excel file. So it was pretty simple. We just clicked on Microsoft Excel and there was a dialog box that popped up. So I went into the exact folder where I have my Excel file and then I clicked on open. I was just directed to the data source page. So my Excel file was connected with Tableau. Now, what if I have my data present in the form of tables in any server or cloud? For example, we have it in the Microsoft SQL server. Okay. Yes, so in my Microsoft SQL Server is where my data is present. So I'll have to click on Microsoft SQL Server and you'll have a dialog box that would pop up asking you for certain details, right? You have to enter the server name where your data is present, right? So the organization, as in your team lead, will give you these details. As a Tableau developer, we will be handed over with all the details required to access the data. So they'll give you the server. They'll tell you this is the server where we have the data, and these are the credentials for you to access the data or access the server where the data is. The data would be present. Okay, because they'll give you all these details as they know in order to work with Tableau, data connectivity is the basic requirement. So only if you have access to the data, you can connect it with Tableau to proceed with the analysis work, right? So based on that, they'll give you all the details required to access the data. So you'll be given the server name, your SQL server, where the data is present, and also the access credentials, the username and password to get into the server. Only then you can connect the data from that server with Tableau. Okay, so this is a small authentication step that happens when you have your data present in servers and clouds because they are secured environments. Okay, if I try connecting, let's say Oracle, okay, or might be SAP, Salesforce, or Snowflake, right? So just click on Salesforce. Okay, you will have to log in, just sign in, or basically you will need the basic credentials to sign in to the Salesforce URL. Okay, only if you have proper access, the username and password, you can get into your organization's account where the data would be present. So this authentication step is important if you have your data outside the system in any server or cloud. Right? And once you are through the authentication step, once you pass the authentication step, you will again be directed to the same page known as the data source page. So this is where you'll have the list of tables or databases present in your server from which you can choose the table, choose the database, and start working with Tableau. Right? Which means, as we've, as we just now discussed, the way you connect your data might differ. If it's an Excel file, it's pretty simple and straightforward. If it's data present in an SQL server, you may need the server name, the credentials to get into the server. Okay. If it's going to be data present in some other location, then you might need that respective credentials or server name or cloud name and so on. Right? So the way you connect will slightly differ depending on where the data is present. Okay. But once connected, once you pass the authentication step, once connected, you will always be directed to the data source page from where the way you work in Tableau will absolutely be the same. There'll be no difference at all. Okay, so once you're into the data source page, Tableau is going to handle the data no matter where it is coming from exactly in the same manner, such that once you're into the data source page, you start working, you start creating visualizations in Tableau's workspace, you will definitely find no difference whether you're working with a data from any cloud, any server, or whether it's a data that's locally present in a system in an Excel format. You'll not be able to figure out, or you'll not be able to find any difference as in from where your data is coming from, because Tableau is going to handle all of them exactly in the same manner, in a uniform manner, letting us work with no matter where the data is coming from in an absolutely similar manner when it comes to Tableau's workspace. The reason I'm trying to stress on this point is that this is a normal question that they try to confuse you when it comes to interviews. Let's say you've done a project with flat files, with Excel files or text files and so on, right? But the interviewer might try to, shoot you with a question that says, or that is like, see, you've been working with Tableau only by connecting flat files, only by connecting data from flat files. But when you get into our organization, we have our data present in Oracle servers. How will you be able to handle that? Okay, so that's just a question to check whether you are actually aware of this point, that no matter where the data is from, you will be given the access credentials. All you have to do is set up the connection. Once you're into the data source page, the way Tableau is treating the data, irrespective of where it is coming from, absolutely is the same, right? So you will have to answer that in great confidence, letting them know that, just because I've done my previous project with data from flat files, I have built my dashboards and all of that. But again, when I get into your organization, no matter where the data is coming from, you will be giving me the credentials. The question is about, you've done your project on Tableau previously Okay, you've built some dashboards in your previous project, but where was the data coming from? The data was handed over to you in the form of Excel files, right? But now when you get into our organization, we have the data stored in Oracle servers, right? So the location of the data, the file type, from where the data is going to be connected with Tableau is different, right? How will you be able to handle it? You've worked only with flat files connected with Tableau previously, but now we have data present in servers. Will you be able to handle it? You don't have that experience, as in you don't have prior experience about server connectivity with Tableau. So will you be able to handle it? This would be the question. It seems too complicated, right? But reality is not like that. I mean, reality is that it's very simple because, as I told you, the way you connect your data from different locations might have slight differences because for Excel files, there was no need for any authentication step, right? But when it comes to your data from an Oracle server, you might have to enter the server name, enter the credentials, pass the authentication step, and then you'll be directed to the very same data source page from where the way you work in Tableau will absolutely be the same. The way Tableau is going to handle data from Oracle server will be absolutely similar to how it had handled your Excel data, right? So you just have to be confident in your answer. They are just trying to test you whether this particular question is going to make you nervous, because it seems complicated, right? I've been working with flat files, but normally server data is huge. We have big data. So that particular point hits us and we tend to become nervous, right? But all you have to do is just be confident about this particular point that no matter where the data is coming from, this project might give you data from an Oracle server. The next project might give you data from a Snowflake cloud or might be from SAP. That doesn't matter because once it's just the way you connect data from different locations with Tableau might have slight differences, but once connected, yes, once you're into the data source page, the way you work in Tableau's workspace, the user interface of Tableau will just be the same because Tableau is handling data from any location exactly in the same manner. So you needn't worry about that particular point. So that is the justification of these lines over here. The way you connect your data from any location with Tableau might have slight differences here and there. The way you connect might have slight differences, but once connected, the way you work in Tableau will absolutely be the same, right? So that's one important point I wanted to mention. Okay, so now you have your data in any location, you have the credentials, you've successfully connected, and you're being directed to the data source page, right? Now, suppose you have any server, any cloud, right? So you just click on that particular server or cloud, enter the credentials, and when you click on sign in, what would happen is it'll make sure your credentials are right. Okay, that authentication step will happen. It'll make sure the username and password is correct and all of that, verification step, authentication step happens. And, once it is successful, once it is all cleared, within a few seconds, you will be directed to this page over here known as the data source page. Okay, and this is where, just like how you have the list of sheets from your Excel file, you will have the list of databases present in whichever server you had connected. And from those databases, you can pick whichever table you're planning to work in Tableau's workspace. Okay, right? So I'll tell you how to then choose the table and proceed. You might have multiple tables in a database, right? How do I choose the table that I am in need of? Yes, see here we have sheets that belong to our Excel file. Okay, now you have orders, people, and returns, correct? As you go down the left bottom corner of your page, the first tab over here is the data source tab. And just right next to it, you have something called sheet number 1. Okay, try clicking on sheet number 1. It will take you to the worksheet space of Tableau. Okay, worksheet space. So this is where we will literally be converting all our tabular data into graphs and charts. This is the space where we'll be visualizing the data. Okay, we'll be creating our charts and graphs in this space, and this is known as the worksheet space. Okay, but I don't see any column. So when if you recollect, if you think about the orders sheet in our Superstore file, we had so many columns over there, right? We have customer name, customer country, sales, profit, product information, and all of that. Only if I have those columns, only if I have data, I can convert it into graphical representations, right? But I don't see anything over here. Why so? Or what am I missing? Or what am I supposed to do in order to bring those columns over here so that I can start? Suppose I would like to see country-wise profit or state-wise sales. I need those columns, right? But I don't see any of them over here. What are we missing, or what are we supposed to do? There's a small red exclamatory mark over here, right next to your data source name. Right? The reason you have this exclamatory mark is that, let's go back to the data source page. You have the data source tab over here. You can toggle between the data source page and the worksheet space using these buttons or tabs. Okay, so click on data source, you'll be taken back to the data source page. Okay, now the reason why there was a red exclamatory mark over there, there were no columns based on which or using which I could, convert my data into graphical representations. The reason behind that was, though Sample Superstore is connected with Tableau, though there are 3 sheets that belong to Sample Superstore, you haven't dragged and dropped anything into your data source page. It says drag tables here to create a data model. It means you have to drag at least one table or sheet into the data source page right here. Okay, only then you'll be able to see the list of columns in your worksheet space, after which you can convert it into graphs and charts. See, we'll do that. Now this space, this blank space over here is known as the canvas area. Again, a lot of new terms that we'll be coming across. Okay, but we'll be using them again and again and again. You'll gradually get familiar with them. Okay, so this is our data source page. This blank space over here is known as the canvas area. Okay, so make sure after you've successfully connected your data with Tableau, drag and drop at least one sheet into the canvas area. Correct? Drag and drop at least one sheet into the canvas area. So I've dragged and dropped orders into my canvas area. Correct? Then what's happening? The bottom half of the page is displaying the rows and columns that actually belong to the orders Excel sheet. Yes? Yes. Now this is known as the view area. Now how did we get this? This was how it looked initially after the successful connection. You have to drag at least one table, one sheet, drag and drop it into the canvas area of your data source page. If you do that, what would happen? The bottom half of this space will try displaying the rows and columns that belong to the orders sheet. Okay, this space is known as the view area. Why view area? V-I-E-W, right? Why view area? Because we are able to view. Now, if you go back to your Sample Superstore, you'll be able to see. This is our orders sheet. Row ID, order date. So these are the complete list of columns that we have. There are 21 columns, okay, in the orders Excel sheet, right? So when you drag and drop orders into the canvas area, all those 21 columns are being listed out right here, and you have your 9994 rows of data. This is the space through which you're viewing whatever data is present in your orders sheet. Correct? So we call this as the view area, right? Now try going into sheet number 1. Okay, just click on sheet number 1. Now The left side space, see the red exclamatory mark near your data source name has disappeared. Okay, and the complete left side space over here is giving you the list of columns that belong to orders of Sample Superstore. See, these 21 columns from orders of Sample Superstore will be listed out into your worksheet space on the left side, using which you can very well visualize your data. Right? Suppose if you need state-wise profit, just drag and drop state into the column shelf. You can drag and drop your sales into the row shelf. You will get your state-wise sales. I mean, this is just an example, but we'll discuss more about, what is the column shelf, what is the row shelf, why is this blue in color, why is this green in color, and all of that. We'll slowly get into all those points, right? But as of now, all you have to understand is, once you're into the data source page after a successful connection, you might have the list of sheets. You will have the list of databases. Under each database, there'll be a list of tables, right? Drag and drop at least one table into the canvas area. After that, what would happen is the view area will give you the complete view of the table, the columns and rows that belong to your table. After that, go into the worksheet space. That's when you'll get the list of columns using which you can try converting the tabular data into graphs and charts. Okay, that's the first point. Okay, now the next point is, see, these are the list of sheets that belong to Sample Superstore. But currently, using which table are we trying to visualize the data? Only orders, because I've dragged and dropped orders into my canvas area. So only the columns that belong to orders sheet will be listed out right here. Okay, so just because people and returns are present over here, it doesn't mean I can use them for my visualization work. Only if you drag and drop them into the canvas area, Tableau will know, okay, you need the columns and rows from the people table. Okay, these are the rows and columns that belong to the people table. Now, when you go into sheet number 1, these columns would be listed right here. Okay, so it all depends on which sheet or table you are trying to drag and drop into the canvas area. Now, you might have another question. Can I drop more than one table? Can I drag and drop more than one table into the canvas area? We can very well do that, but that's again topics related to a few advanced concepts. Okay, but before that, we have certain basic points to understand about the data source page. Okay, so we'll discuss about it, and then gradually we'll definitely get into the topic. That's a part of module number 1, right? So we'll gradually get into the point of what about dragging and dropping multiple tables into the canvas area. How do we do that? What are the different options or ways that we have in Tableau using which multiple tables can be dragged and dropped into the canvas area? That's definitely possible. But again, a few basic points that we may have to discuss, which will act as a base for certain advanced concepts, right? But definitely we'll come back. We have all of that in our modules, in our upcoming topics. Okay. If we are discussing about Excel files, we call them as sheets in an Excel file. If you're discussing about, let's say, servers and clouds, you will have databases in your servers under which you will have multiple tables, right? But when it comes to Tableau, Tableau is treating everything as tables. Okay, I mean, just because it's an Excel file, we call them as Excel sheets, right? But anyways, Tableau will be treating them as tables within your databases. Just like how it treats tables inside your database, it is going to treat these sheets, these Excel sheets, as tables. So end of the day, everything is the same. Tableau is treating everything as tables. Okay, right. So let's explore a little more about our data source page. Okay, let's drag and drop orders into the canvas area. You get those rows and columns displayed right here, and we call it as the view area. Okay, right. So now you have a small symbol right on top of every column header. Now, what are these about? Just click on one symbol and you'll be able to get a list. You'll be able to see the list right here. Now, they are known as the data types in Tableau. Every column is assigned with a particular data type. See, your row ID is a column which is of a number whole data type, right? Row ID is a column which is of a number whole data type. Now, if you see, there are 6 different data types. Number, which is split into number, decimal, number, whole. So we consider that as 1, right? So we have 6 data types: number, date and time, date, string, Boolean, and geographic role. These are the 6 different data types, right? Now, you have integer or whole numbers as values under row ID, and that's why it is of a number whole data type, correct? Then you have order ID. It is alphanumeric, right? It has text as well as numbers. So it's considered to be a string data type. Then you have order date, ship date. They are date related information, as in the format is basically date format. That's why they are of date data type. In case you had timestamps along with date information, then they would be considered as date and time data types, right? Then these are again string, and as you keep moving, there are certain columns which have a globe symbol over here. Now, what does this mean? See, I hope we are already familiar with the other data types, right? Number, date and time, date, string, Boolean. Boolean is nothing but true or false. That would be the values within your column. Yes, but what is this geographic role all about? Yes, now first of all, are we assigning every column with a specific data type? No, Tableau does it automatically, right? Depending on the nature of data present under every column, Tableau assigns it with a specific data type, right? And as you can see, you have these globe symbols over here. These columns are assigned, or these columns are identified as by Tableau as geographic data types. See, geographic data types, it says this is country information. If you click on city, it says it's a geographic role. It has city related information. Now, what do we mean by, why can't it simply give it or assign it as a string data type? Why is it assigning as a geographic role data type? In what way this is going to help us, or what's the purpose of it? The main reason behind it is, see, as we know, Tableau is all about data visualization, right? You're converting your data into graphs and charts. What kind of graphs and charts are we going to convert the data into? Let's go into sheet 1. The right top corner gives you the show me tab or show me button over here, right? Just click on it. Now, these are the readily available 24 types of charts and graphs with which data can be visualized in Tableau, right? So you have, as you place your cursor, this space over here tells you this is a packed bubble chart. This is a box and whisker plot chart, or this is a tree map. And along with these, pie charts, bar charts, and so on, you also have maps using which data can be visualized. See, if you have data related to, states that belong to US, you can visualize your data directly on the US map. Okay, let's say there are 10 states where we have store set up across United States. How is the sales of these 10 states? Okay, how is the sales in stores located in these 10 states? So instead of visualizing that using a bar chart, wouldn't it be interesting if you directly visualize it on a map, on a US map, right? So maps can be used as ways of visualizing your data. They are also considered to be a chart, a graph using which data can be visualized. But what do we need in order to plot out a map in our worksheet space? How can we plot out a map in our worksheet? What do we generally need? We'll need the latitude and longitude information, correct? Which sounds a little complicated, right? So see, we have state We have country, we have cities, we have states, we have postal codes and all of that. Now, manually, is it possible for us to pick up the latitude and longitude value for each and every state, and using those latitude and longitude values, plotting out a map in our worksheet? All these things seem to be very complicated, right? Manual effort, as in doing everything, all of these things manually, is going to be very, very difficult. Right? So what Tableau does is it is making our work easier. By assigning these columns as a geographic data type, it is making a note that, okay, these columns are are in some or the other way related to location related information. So the user might want to visualize the values in these columns in the form of a map. So if at all they would like to do that, they will need latitude and longitude values. So beforehand, what Tableau does is, by assigning these columns which contain location related information as geographic data type, it makes a note that it has to generate latitude and longitude values for all values, latitude and longitude information for all the values within columns that are assigned as a geographic data type. Okay, so verbally, this is what Tableau does. It looks into a column, okay, state, it has location related information. How did it identify that we have location related information? Because they have standardized state names, correct? If you think about a state called, let's say Delhi, okay, might be a state called Madhya Pradesh. It's a standardized state name that belongs to the country called India. Right? Similarly, you have these states which are standardized names that belong to US. Okay, so it identifies that yes, they are location related information. For each and every state, it tries to generate the latitude and longitude value. If you go into your worksheet space, see there'll be two fields over here, or two fields over here known as latitude, and in brackets you have generated, longitude generated. Okay, this generated over here means that Tableau has automatically generated the latitude and longitude values for fields that are of geographic data type. So that's the main reason, or that's going to be really helpful for us when we try to plot out maps in our worksheet with fields that contain location related information. Okay, now you might wonder, okay, country, city, state, postal code, yes, they are of geographic data type. Region has values like south, west, central, east, and so on. They also point out to some location, right? Southern part or western part. It's something related to location related information. Why isn't it assigned as a geographic data type? Any idea? It's just assigned as a simple string data type. Why so? Region is also something related to location, right? But why isn't Tableau assigning it as a geographic data type? What do you think would be the reason behind it? Okay, so, moving back to the point that we discussed previously, they don't have latitude and longitude. See, these are values which are standardized country names, standardized state names, or standardized city names. So they'll have a proper latitude and longitude value, right? But region names, they are generalized. It can be the southern part of any country. It can be pointing to the southern part of any state. We don't know, right? As in, they don't have a standardized latitude and longitude value. They are generalized in nature. That is the reason Tableau is not trying to assign it as a geographic data type, but instead it just assigns them as a string data type. So now I hope you get the difference between why geographic role for those columns and why string data type for this particular column. So based on the nature of data present in every column, Tableau assigns it with a specific data type automatically. So now sales has decimal values, so it would be assigned as a number decimal data type, right? So this is one of the very common certification exam questions, or might be one of the basic questions your interview might start with. What are the different data types in Tableau, right? That was the first point. Now you'll be familiar with these symbols, right? Right below the symbol, you have the table name to which this particular column belongs to. So row ID, order ID, they all belong to the orders table. Correct? So when you have multiple tables pulled into the canvas area, you should be able to have an idea. Okay, this column belongs to my orders table. This particular column belongs to a different table. So that's the reason they have the table name that's displayed right on top of every column header. Okay, then you have the column header. So these are the three things. First is your data type symbol, then your table name to which the column belongs to, and then you have the column header, right? Now, on the right top corner of every column, okay, you have a drop down arrow mark. Now, if you click on the drop down arrow, you have a set of options. And the first option says rename. Okay, but before that, I have something else to tell you. Understanding how Tableau is getting connected with the data, right? If you remember, there was one point that we discussed. Tableau stores data in the random access memory of your system. What does that mean? Tableau is not capable of storing the data within itself. Okay, Tableau is not capable of it. So it's making use, it's considering the RAM of your system as a temporary cache where it stores the data. Okay, there's one more thing that you'll have to understand about what's exactly happening when we say, or what do we mean by data is getting connected with Tableau? Okay, what do we mean by that? The first point is when right now we've connected Sample Superstore with Tableau, right? Now, when we say Sample Superstore is connected with Tableau, are we literally bringing the data from Sample Superstore into the workspace of Tableau? That's not the case. Tableau is just reflecting your data. Okay, see, when you drag and drop orders into the worksheet space, it is trying to display the data that actually, belongs to the orders sheet. But this is just the reflection is what I would say. That's why we call it as the view area. Okay, data is present. The actual data is present in Sample Superstore itself. Okay, but over here, it's just the reflection that we are looking into.
Now, with these basic video recordings, I hope you have understood the main concepts of how to use Tableau. Please keep in mind some of these best practices whenever you are doing some data visualization. And if you're creating dashboards, first of all, you should keep it very simple. Try to use the appropriate chart types, because for comparisons, bar charts are better, line charts are better for trends, and then scatter plots are good for relationships. Similarly, keep in mind that you should use colors, labels, and annotations to draw attention. That is why the more you delve into these tools, the more you learn about them, and the more presentable your visualization becomes, and the better inferences you can draw. So remember that you need to create some interactions also amongst the dashboard. So you should enable filtration and exploration. But at the same time, you should maintain uniform formatting also, so that there is a consistency for readability and clarity. Right? So dashboard should prioritize user comprehension and actionable insights. That is the main thing. Because if the user is not able to comprehend what you have prepared, then there is no use. So also, it's not just that a few industries need visualizations. We all know that visualization tools are applied across various industries, whether it be retail, finance, healthcare, tech companies. So all these, they need to explore user behavior, some customer segmentation, resource utilization, and so on. Even a global airline, it uses a Tableau dashboard to track flight delays, occupancy rates. Real-time operational decisions can be taken based on these things, and they can have a better strategic planning done. So for this purpose, we have understood the data visualization, the relevance, and the techniques also, some of the basic concepts. Once you are through with this, then you can explore more about this and learn further. I hope the lesson was comprehensible to all of you. Now you can also go through your study modules and try attempting the questions, and you could also go in for some practical insights into this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.